For months, the denials have been emphatic and definitive.
Can you say with 100% confidence that Mr. Trump or anybody in his campaign had no conversations with anybody in Russia during the campaign?
No, I mean, I'm just telling you, it's all phony, baloney garbage.
Did any advisor or anybody in the Trump campaign have any contact with the Russians who were trying to meddle in the election?
Well, of course not.
Can you say whether you are aware that anyone who advised your campaign had contacts with Russia during the course of the election?
I have nothing to do with Russia. To the best of my knowledge, no person that I deal with does.
It now appears those denials were, at best, deflections. CNN has confirmed a growing list of people affiliated with the president's campaign who had contact with Russia's ambassador to the U.S., Sergei Kislyak, as far back as last spring. In April of 2016, Kislyak was in the audience, in the same room with Attorney General Jeff Sessions, as then-candidate Trump gave a speech calling for the U.S. to ease tensions with Russia.
Strength.
3 months later, Kislyak was in Cleveland. On July 20th, on the sidelines of the Republican convention, CNN has learned at least 3 Trump campaign national security advisors met with the Russian ambassador. One of them tells CNN nothing inappropriate was said, that there was no collusion with the Russians to aid the Trump campaign. But was Trump's Russia policy affected by those meetings? Trump's team allegedly pushed convention delegates into changing the GOP platform language to offer less help to Ukraine in their fight against Russian separatists. Days later, Trump told ABC this.
He's not going into Ukraine, okay? Just so you understand. He's not going to go into Ukraine. All right, you can mark it down, you can put it down, you can take it anywhere you want. There,
During his confirmation hearing, Attorney General Jeff Sessions also denied any contacts as part of the campaign.
I didn't not have communications with the Russians.
But on Thursday, Sessions admitted he, too, met with the Russian ambassador in Cleveland.
In retrospect, if I should have slowed down and said, but I did meet one Russian official a couple of times, that would be the ambassador.
The week after that meeting in Cleveland, emails stolen from the Democratic National Committee were released, embarrassing Democrats during their convention. The Trump campaign denied any involvement.
Are there any ties between Mr. Trump, you or your campaign, and Putin and his regime?
No, there are not. It's absurd, and there's no basis to it.
Days later, Mr. Trump was back in front of cameras, seemingly daring the Kremlin to help take down Hillary Clinton.
Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing.
U.S. officials now say the Russians were engaged in a concerted effort to help Trump get elected through hacks and fake news. On September 8th, Sessions, still a surrogate for the Trump campaign, met with the Russian ambassador a second time, this time in Sessions' Senate office. Sessions says the subject of Ukraine came up. CNN has learned contacts between the ambassador and Trump advisors continued after the election. In December, a senior administration official now says the ambassador met briefly at Trump Tower with Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and his appointed national security advisor, General Michael Flynn. Despite news cameras rolling constantly in the Trump Tower lobby, Kislyak was apparently never seen by reporters entering or leaving the building. Later that month, Michael Flynn had a flurry of phone calls and a text with the Russian ambassador. He says touching on everything from holiday greetings to sanctions. It was then that President Obama expelled more than 30 Russian diplomats and leveled sanctions on Russia. Yet Vladimir Putin said he wouldn't respond in kind. Trump praised Putin's move in a tweet. I always knew he was very smart. 2 months later, after the Washington Post detailed the timing of the calls, Flynn was forced to resign. The White House says for misleading Vice President Pence about his conversations with the ambassador. The next day, Press Secretary Sean Spicer was still trying to answer questions about Trump campaign contacts with the Russians before the election.
There's nothing that would conclude me that anything different has changed with respect to that time period.
2 days later, the president himself was again asked and again denied that anyone on his campaign team had contacts with Russia during the election.
Oh, no, nobody that I know of. Nobody
so you're not aware of any contacts during the course of the election?
How many times do I have to answer this question?